911, what's your emergency?
Yes, I'd like to report a robbery.
Alright, sir, what would you like to report as stolen?
Well, it's a movie.
I'm sorry, sir. A movie?
A movie, yes, that's correct.
Sir, wait. I'm sorry, like a DVD?
No, so, I'm a filmmaker, right?
Okay.
And I'm working on this movie, and someone stole the entire thing.
They stole the movie.
They stole the movie, yes.
Wait, so they stole... I'm sorry. I'm just having some trouble understanding how someone could steal a movie. Like, they stole the film roll?
Well, not exactly. See, this is an animated film.
How? So you don't have backups of them?
Yeah, honestly, I thought about that, and in hindsight, it might have been the right move. So can you help?
I mean, we can try. I've never heard of something like this. Is it a good movie?
Yeah, sorta.
Yeah?
Yeah, we were sort of paid by all these different brands to make a movie with all these different food mascots together, like Mr. Clean and Captain Crunch and stuff.
And someone thought that was valuable enough to steal?
What was that?
Oh, nothing. Well, we'll try to get by that, sir.
Okay, thank you. How long do you think that'll take?
I don't know. We'll probably get back to you in, 2012.
I've honestly never heard of this before, an entire movie being stolen. I've heard of movies and TV shows going missing, that's happened plenty of times, but that's more in the territory of lost media, which that's a topic for another day. I'm also not talking about stolen ideas, that happens all the time. I'm even a victim of this. Like, when I first saw Avatar, I thought, hey, this should get a sequel, and what do you know, just a little while later? No, I'm talking about a movie that during its development just went missing. Movies have so much riding on them. People's careers, large budgets, brand deals, the last two of which are intertwined with this one. This is a movie that's so unique, so odd, and so fascinating that the history behind it is worthy of its own movie. Or a great YouTube video. With an ad in the middle of it. You should totally watch the ad. It begins with a man named Lawrence Kasanoff. Kasanoff was a movie producer who made a name for himself with movies like True Lies and the Mortal Kombat franchise. He was making it big in the 90s, around the same time computer animated films were just making headway. Toy Story, the first ever fully computer animated film, premiered in 1995, and Lawrence saw this as where the industry is naturally headed. Seeing this untapped and universally appealing market ripe for plucking, he founds an animation subsidiary to his company, Threshold Entertainment. Now, what was to be the Freshman Studio's first film? Well, animated films, particularly computer animated ones, are extremely expensive. So it would be a massive gamble to fund a film that might not do well as the company had nothing to fall back on. How about brand deals? Yeah, he knew the business. He's seen how things go. Product placement is everywhere in entertainment.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
So what, have some product placement in the movie? No. He was thinking bigger. Like a lot of it? Would it make up whole scenes? You just aren't opening your mind. Lawrence's ambitions were greater than that. He envisioned an entire feature film of product placement.
Oh my God!
It makes perfect sense. Toy Story had a cast of characters made for the movie, which they then sold as toys. So the movie itself essentially acts as an ad. Well, I mean, not exactly, but So how about we streamline the process a bit? Use characters from the brands themselves. Food mascots are what people are familiar with. Their lore isn't tapped into. They pay us for the product placement, and we use their mascots as characters in the actual movie. Lawrence got to work penning this film, not only taking on writing responsibilities, but also directing and even acting. Orson Welles obviously being a clear influence. And production officially went ahead in 1995. A $25 million joint between Threshold and the Korean investment company Natural Image made up the initial production budget. Now, as you can tell, there's quite a bit riding on this project, but Kasanoff has a trick up his sleeve. Being the director of an animated film means he's able to rely on his prior years of experience in animation. He's worked on a ton of classic animated films and shows such as... So he has absolutely no experience in animation. But you know what? That's perfectly fine. The budget had already bloomed to a good $65 million. Jesus Christ. And an all-star cast was included. Charlie Sheen, Christopher Lloyd, Hilary Duff, Ava Longoria, Wayne Brady, and several others. But the biggest surprise of all was this was supposed to be the start of a franchise. Yes, sir. Everyone over at Threshold has big plans for this movie, such as video game tie-ins, merchandise, and even a multimedia web series. This wasn't going to be some forgotten movie, oh no. This was supposed to be the next big step in the evolution of pop culture. Kazanoff being so confident in the movie that he was even quoted saying, "In terms of coming to have an independent digital animation studio making a digitally animated film right now, I think we're pretty much it." He felt as though he truly was the arbiter of a new age of animation. Well, one morning in the winter of 2002, Lawrence, eager to continue work on his passion project, stepped into the Threshold offices, opened up the computers, and he couldn't find any of the film files. That's weird. Maybe they're buried somewhere in the hard drives. Oh no. The hard drives for the film were stolen, and thus all the work that had been done up until that point had gone with them. Police were called. The feds were called. Nothing. The movie was gone, and what Kazanoff could only bring himself to describe as an act of industrial espionage. Someone stole his life's work. But Lawrence wasn't going to let this setback stop him from telling the story he wanted to. He was driven. He was resilient. And so he decided the only way to continue the film in a timely manner was to streamline the animation process. See, the original art style was to be in a squash and stretch fashion, similar to a Looney Tunes cartoon. However, at the same time, and to better utilize his filmmaking knowledge, they instead opted to use motion capture for large portions of the film. Again, this was the early 2000s, so motion capture was in its infancy. And this, coupled with Kazanoff's apparent lack of any animation experience, led to some clashing of heads between him and the animation department. It's hard to believe. An industry head such as himself always ran such a tight ship. I don't see... Animators complained that Kazanoff had seemingly no idea what he was doing at times, and he apparently saw no real difference between animation and live action. He would ask for retakes of certain scenes and shots. He would be incredibly vague with his demands, and would often use grammatically poor phrases like 30% better, or more awesome. One producer even said it was as if he and animators were speaking two different languages. The movie was basically homeless until Lionsgate created a distribution deal for it, along with $20 million thrown in for the deal, product tie-ins, and celebrity voiceovers. It was slated for a 2005 release, but given how smooth this production has gone so far, you can only be surprised this date was missed. Instead, aiming for a 2007... What? No? Yeah, both those windows were missed. Eventually, investors started growing impatient. Finally, in 2011, the insurance company who wound up receiving ownership of the movie said screw it and auctioned it off for a measly $2.5 million. Ken Bailey, an animator on the film, said that the film was already ruined. They were just trying to salvage what they could. Well, after all this time, all the trials, the tribulations, Kazanoff, despite being fired off the project... How do you get fired off your own fucking movie? Was finally able to get his film he spent over a decade trying to get off the ground into theaters. Oh no. The film had a quiet limited release in theaters only in the UK, while the rest of the world had to hunker down and wait for the DVD and VOD releases in the coming months.
The absolute ugliest animated feature that has ever been released by something resembling an actual animation studio.
With its horrifying, half-finished visuals and an ensemble cast of sex predator corporate mascots, Foodfight provides a steady stream of nightmare fuel.
So in the end, what exactly is Foodfight? Well, it's a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale about letting your ambitions get too high without any sort of actual plan to make it a reality. It's about egos, hubris, going too far without any sort of checks and balances. It's about greed to start your own career without any sort of substance to it. And most importantly, it's about backing up your goddamn files. Which you can do with today's sponsor. Oh, wait. No, this video isn't sponsored. Never mind.